You're listening to Spark TV, where we bring you daily interviews with real women in business at all stages. I'm your host, Danielle Lewis, and I am so grateful to have you here. Amazing, Jenny. Welcome to Spark TV. I'm so excited to have you here.
Yay. Hi, Danielle. So stoked to be here.
I am a huge fan of yours, so very excited to get into your story. Let's start out by telling everyone who you are and what you do.
Okay. My name is Jenny Goldfarb, and I'm the CEO of Unreal Deli, which is a business that makes plant-based deli meats and bacon, sold all throughout the United States. It started in my home kitchen as just a little dream, and it wound up on Shark Tank and making a nice deal there, and then moving on now into thousands of grocery doors throughout the country. And I did this while raising three young children, so I'm like, I'm all about the hands-on mom approach to life and business. And that's, a little bit of the gist of what I'm up to today.
Oh my gosh, that is absolutely incredible. Now, the plant-based movement over the last, I don't know, maybe like 5 years has just
Yeah.
exploded, right?
It's really come on the scene now in like a new way that folks can still enjoy the same sandwiches and burgers and all sorts of other, types of delicacies, in a way that doesn't have to harm animals or the environment and or your health. And so there's a great opportunity now with so many new things that have come out, and we love getting to be a part of that.
Yeah, that is absolutely incredible. And so was that the motivation and inspiration for you to start this business?
Yeah, so I grew up actually the great granddaughter of some real New York City deli owners. So I have it like in my bloodline.
Love
And
it.
then, I started going plant-based, not like 100%, but a nice majority of my food, really for, all these things together. It just felt like there were so many reasons and it was so compelling. And I also felt like my kids were getting healthier, less sick less often. And I don't know, my husband and I shed a couple pounds and we're sleeping better. I was like, there's something to this. And so I was deep in like in different kinds of cookbooks and learning, playing with different recipes. And I made this corned beef out of beets, chickpeas, tomatoes, and some high protein grains and spices. And anyway, friends and family were like, this is like the most delicious thing. This is not a recipe, this is a business. And at the time, I was pregnant with my third daughter, and I was like, I'm having a baby. I got these, like, don't even talk to me about that. But my dad was a longtime entrepreneur, and feel like I have some of that blood in me. And I was like, maybe I could try and sell this thing. And so I rented a tiny kitchen for $25 an hour that was like commercial, even though it was like a small, tiny. And I was making it myself. And I started selling the local delis, like the old school delis, like the ones that my great grandpa had once run in New York. And so we got into all these like old school establishments and
Wow.
started selling like crazy. And then we got into Whole Foods and Shark Tank happened. And yeah, so it's been a really beautiful, wild ride. Stressful, also plenty of the time. It's not just beautiful. It's not just beautiful, but we're doing all our darndest to have a good time and to, feel excited about what we're up to. So.
Absolutely. And you should be excited. It is incredible. I mean, I don't know any business owner that's not stressed out, even if they love what they do. So,
Sure.
and what was the Shark Tank experience like? How did that even come about? What was the process like? And are you happy with the outcome?
Yeah. So, after I was selling some of the delis and we were starting to get like some grocery stores looking at us, I was like, okay, this is like, and friends and family, we live in Los Angeles, which is where the show is filmed and like so Hollywoody, but my friends and family were like, yeah, you have these couple of accounts. Now, of course, it's just naturally time for Shark Tank. I was like, all right, I'll try. So I
I
did a
love the
web.
big dreaming. This is
I
good.
know, streaming exactly. Like that was kind of like the vibe. Like right when you'd get the first like three location place, it's like, well, now we're gonna start looking at like a 200 location. You know what I mean? And it's the same, game. It's just whatever. You're just graduating to like the next height there. So anyway, yeah, we I reached out to Shark Tank. I did like a quick web application, and they reached out to me, and there were a bunch of phone interviews and then handwritten stuff, and then finally I had a tape day, and it was like the most exhilarating experience of my life. You're pitching to the five judges. They know nothing about you, just your first name walking in there. and they all got to taste the sandwich and acknowledge how delicious it was. And it went so well. I felt like, like the spirit was with me. And so I wound up getting this deal with Mark Cuban for more than double the cash that I was asking for, which is a little bit unheard of on the show.
Wow. Yep.
Um, and I didn't even have that much in revenues yet, but there were accounts coming online or whatever it was. It was just the right moment, the right product. And so, yeah, it was a really beautiful experience. Yeah, I like to say more exhilarating than even, childbirth, possibly. It's like such a wild experience. And yeah, here we are. So I get to have Cuban as a partner. And so it's pretty rad. I mean, he's got quite a lot of companies in his portfolio, so he's not like out hustling for me, but I get to send all of my emails and say, I work with
Invest in
Cuban.
Mark
Good
Cuban.
deal.
Yes.
Exactly. So it's a pretty awesome thing. I would definitely do it again in a heartbeat.
Wow, that is so incredible because I don't know, you do get mixed messages from people who've had good
Yeah,
experiences and bad
yeah.
experiences. But I
Yes,
think
you
you're
do.
right. Like if it's a great product, the right time, the right investor, it can
Sure.
be just so incredible for a business.
So incredible.
What
Just
an
the show
amazing
alone.
opportunity that we
Yeah.
have this show now. Like it's so
Right?
cool.
So cool. And just like so much opportunity today to be able to like be in your home and a comfortable whatever and be able to like
Yeah.
connect to like the world and start a business, to start a revolution from your bed. I mean, like it's not just, to have a show like this, but to be alive in a moment like this, to be able to start a business from like an app, from a phone, from a it's just incredible. So I feel like in awe of this moment actually.
It's so, I know, I couldn't agree with you more. I always say that to people. Like, if you're unhappy, you have never lived in a better time to change your circumstances. If you are willing
Totally. I
to
love that.
work, then you can do it.
Exactly.
It
Exactly. I
is.
mean, just the AI piece alone, I don't know how deep you are in
Mm.
ChatGPT, but that has rocked my world, changed my universe. The kinds
What
of
do you,
things that
I'm
last.
curious, what do you use it for?
Yeah, so I feel like I should give, first off, I'm working on a podcast and it's going to be a little bit more spirited than is it tactical
Cool.
business. I really do feel as though I should put a segment on various prompts and ways that it can really help your life. So
Yeah.
first off, any email that you need to write to someone that's more than like a sentence or so long, you just throw it like, got to reply to so and so. You can copy their other email in. Want to communicate A, B, and C, and you have bad spelling, bad everything. It's going to put together a perfect note from soup to nuts. You can say, I want it more friendly. I want it less this. And it's like the most perfect, like robot, sidekick. That's like one of 1,000 things. I mean, like if you're thinking of taking a trip, where to go for a walk, how to talk to your husband about something. I mean, like it's so unbelievable how many levels it will meet you on, and
Mm.
the research it'll do for you. Anyhow, I recommend everyone get a ChatGPT account. If nothing else, you take from this and just play on there and ask it a couple things and lean on it every now and then. It's remarkable, and it's only getting better. We're only at the very beginning of this.
Oh my God, it's so true. I use it like an assistant and it's hilarious. My husband saw me talking to it the other day. He's
Yep.
like, do you actually like talk to it? And I'm like, yeah, you got to be nice to the robots. Like they're going to take over the world one day.
Exactly. Exactly. It's so funny for
But it's
sure.
so true. You can literally ask it anything and it will come back to you. Oh, let's make it a little bit more like this, or can I have a little bit more information on this? And it is just the most incredible assistant you've ever had in your entire life.
Ever. Like you
Yeah.
never have to like really write anything ever again. Like I don't know if people realize the extent, You jot down some of the ideas and tell it to do this kind of a thing. It's just phenomenal. And anyway, there are more and more things coming out in this whole space. So yeah, quite the time to be alive.
Well, you
Amen.
definitely have to do an episode in the new podcast because I know
Okay.
everybody listening will be, yeah, so intrigued as to how they can power their businesses
Their
and how
lives with
we can
this.
definitely do that.
Yes. Thank
And we'll
you.
make
Good.
sure that we link your new show in our podcast episode show notes as well, because I think that you've got an incredible story and so much to share. So we should all be listening to it.
Thank you so much, Danielle. It's going to launch really soon. My birthday's actually tomorrow, so I'm trying to
Oh
launch it.
my gosh,
Thank
happy
you so much. Getting in on the mid 40s now, but thank you. Uh, yeah, so I have at jennygoldfarb.com. There's like a sign up thing. So if you want to get the
birthday.
link for when it launches, that's where that'll be at. Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
Danielle.
That is so good. And isn't it interesting how, you've obviously had fantastic success with Unreal Deli and you've been growing the business, but there's always more to do and grow. And, now you're saying mid 40s, now I'm launching the podcast. Like, this is a never ending opportunity. It's just amazing.
It's unbelievable to know that we're all in this like beautiful game of life and that there are various ways to kind of like jump levels in the video game by,
Yeah.
really investing our time and energy into various things that will bear fruits. And I do feel like I learned so many things that I really am getting to a point in my life where I want to get into like the sharing mode. And so
Yes.
anyway, I feel really blessed out to get to enter that a little bit.
Oh my gosh, that is so incredible. So, reflecting on your time in business, what do you attribute the growth of Unreal Deli to?
I feel like, I mentioned before with regard to Shark Tank, right place, right time, right product. And so there's definitely some of that. But there's also a real grit because, it hasn't always been easy. I mean, when
Mm.
COVID hit, we were getting real big into the restaurant circuit, and there was a test that was happening,
Oh,
a
wow.
chain that was going to put us in many hundreds of locations. And then COVID hit and we had to change our whole business model to retail. And then again, there were other issues in the plant-based meat category about a year and a half, 2 years ago. So hasn't always been easy, but I will really attribute it to the grit from the earliest days of saying, I made this thing. It's pretty good. People like it. Like you got to have some grit to say, I'm going to look up the nearest kitchen. I'm going to email so-and-so. Do they know anyone? I'm going to like not care if like I get things get in the way. One time I was actually pregnant at the beginning when I was starting the business and I was cooking it in the commercial kitchen. I'd bring my big Vitamix blender and my beets and my all my ingredients out to this kitchen. And I'm like a fast New Yorker, so I was like grabbing all my stuff at once. I wanted to take one trip, not like three. And I tripped on a curb and I cut my face and I remember at
Oh,
that I was
no.
like, I was saying to myself, Jenny, you have every excuse to like slow it down. You don't have to start a business right now. Maybe this comes. And then I said, starting this thing despite this. And this is like, and those are the moments. So I think
Yes.
that's why we've succeeded because there were other times where things got tough and we could have said, you know what? It's not the business it was at one point, or whatever. And we could have like, ended things and we've like pushed on. And so I feel like that grit and it comes up in so many aspects of life, not only business. So
Yeah. Oh my God, you're so right. I mean, the skills that we need in business are so transferable to life. And it's interesting. I mean, you mentioned COVID. Obviously, that's a big one that everyone knows. But I always say to people, so I've been in business for 12 years. I'm like, there's been something every year. When you're in
exactly.
business, that is just how
Exactly.
it is.
Right, right. 100%. In fact, I was just on a walk this afternoon and I was saying to myself, there was a moment in the middle of all of it where we were having customers reaching out because believe it or not, and this is years ago, and we've fully corrected it since then. It wasn't even our fault, it was the products, but some folks were opening the product and there was mold in the product. And we had to
Mm.
deal with that. Imagine that, like you have a factory making it for you, but how you have to figure that out and that with people freaking out and all. So like you're so right. 'Cause I was just reflecting, wow, not only did COVID happen and the plant-based meat market, then this one also. So you're right. It really is never a dull moment. And I'm sure everyone out there who's a mother can testify that's the case in motherhood. It's the case in business. It's the case if you're married. It's the case if you're not married. So no matter what, we're all like kind of up against the wall in this business of life, I like to say. So figuring out how to navigate the world around you in the most productive way, basically.
I love it. And look, you've mentioned motherhood. How has it been navigating being a mom and growing a successful business?
It's not always a field day. Like actually right now, it's 4:25 p.m. My children are home from school. I generally don't schedule meetings, but to be in Australia, this is what you got to do. And so, yeah, they weren't very thrilled when I said you got to throw a screen on. So unfortunately, there are more screens than I would like there to be, but probably that's every parent these days. Aside from that, I think it's really cool. I happen to have three daughters. My husband got me this for my last birthday, Boss Lady.
Oh, I
So
love
I
it.
think it's good that little girls are seeing that moms can like
Mm,
whatever throw on a little casual soft blazer situation and sit down with Australia sometimes. So anyway,
absolutely.
yeah.
And I think it's, I mean, exactly what we've covered, right? It is just that matter of things are going to come up and you just have to be resilient. You just have to know that it's not you and that it's just something to overcome.
Exactly. And the reason that we like fear when things come up is because we think they're bigger than we are. But we're so
Mm,
big. We're so powerful actually. And so our consciousness, our state of, mind, our the love that we put into something is so much more powerful than any of like the things that come along the way. And they're just here to help us reveal more light. So they're here for a purpose too, all these things. And yeah, if
yes.
you can navigate them and keep your head up and remember some positive things that you have to do to get through them, then it makes it all worth it. We came
Yeah.
down here into this world to do real work and in
Yes.
every aspect, and so it's just part of refining our whole character.
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting. I have this, I guess it's not a quote, a statement on my vision board that is, I want to know what I am capable of, and it is that idea that it's like we are infinitely capable beings, but sometimes I think we play it safe. So if we can push ourselves and recognize that these challenges, these fears, that they're going to come up no matter what. And if we want to do great things, it is just a matter of realizing that we have the ability to overcome them and do whatever it is we want to do.
I love that. That's beautiful. There's a famous sage that I look up to named Rabbi Nachman says, "The world is a very narrow bridge. The most
Mm,
important thing is not to be afraid." Because it's true, it's scary as hell out there. It's completely true with all the aspects, the parenting, the screens, the work stuff, finances, the spouses, the non spouses. It's a really scary world out there, but we have to keep in the meantime, we have to have fun along the way, we have to find joy along the way, and then we can deal with those things that as they come.
I love it. You are absolutely incredible, Jenny.
Oh,
I
you too,
always
Danielle. Takes
I
two to
always
know one.
oh my gosh, I love it. But I always love to wrap up these podcasts with one last piece of advice. So, reflecting on your time in business, what would be a piece of advice that you would give to another woman on her business journey?
My piece of advice would be to be willing to roll up your sleeves and get a little dirty, because I feel like once we can kind of get into whatever the thing that's like calling you a little bit, to roll up your sleeves and get into it even further than maybe you're thinking. If it's in the kitchen or with research or using ChatGPT to figure that researchy thing out, or whatever it is, to like get sloppy and get in there and get deep in an app or a little further than maybe you even wanted to go, to sit down and give yourself some free time to play in that space, because you never know what comes. Like
Mm,
I had this when I first started going plant-based. I started this vegan food blog and I was like, this is going to be my thing. Turned out it wasn't my thing, but because I was deep in something, this other
mm.
thing came to be. So I really want to encourage people, especially women, to like roll their sleeves up and get a little messy in that thing, and be willing to go off on a tangent from that thing, because you don't know if that's really the thing or if that's just leading you to what the thing is. And so keep playing.
That is absolutely beautiful. Jenny, thank you so much for taking time out of your afternoon
Good
and
afternoon.
chatting to the Spark community. You are such an inspiration, and we can't wait to continue to follow the Unreal Deli story.
Such a treat to spend time with you, Danielle. Thank you so much.
That wraps another episode of Spark TV. Shout out to Spark TV sponsor IP Australia for their amazing support of the Spark podcast and women in business. And if no one tells you today, you've got this.